Hey everybody, welcome to this new Let's Play series with Solaris where I'm gonna be playing Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 with a character with no party, last save, and the character is gonna be a fighter. So I know that most of the time when we see or we look at the Let's Plays in Baldur's Gate and it's a solo character, people tend to use fighter mage or fighter thief, but in this let's play I want to try just fighter. And why is that the case? Well, it's because first, I love Baldur's Gate. I finished Baldur's Gate a while ago, and I just wanted to go back to the game, and because I played Baldur's Gate 1 and I finished it, and I did Baldur's Gate 2, but I never finished the game. I always have been distracted before I could get at the end. But in this Let's Play, I would like to go from Baldur's Gate 1 and Baldur's Gate 2 with a fighter. And the reason why I want to do it with a fighter is because the fighter is one of my favorite class. I think it's a little bit underrated. I know that it's being played in a lot of playthroughs, but it's always being played with something else. It's fighter mage, fighter thief, or fighter druid or whatever, but never fighter just on itself. And I can understand why, because when we look at the fighter in Baldur's Gate, which is D&D second edition, the fighter has a lot of weaknesses. The first weakness is like we are extremely vulnerable to magic. So whenever we're gonna be confronted in a magic situation, if we don't have the proper defense, like with potions or actual armor or items, we're gonna be extremely vulnerable. The second thing is we cannot use scrolls. We can use potions. We can use certain wands, magical wands. And after magical, of course, armor, weapons, but we cannot use all the items, right? The magical items, the best magical items, we're not going to be able to use them. And the second thing as well is like we're going to be with no party. So why do I want to do it with no party? First, because I love the challenge. And second, it's because I just want to see if it's possible to actually beat the game with no party, just one single character, sucking all the experience, and after that, trying to see how far we can go, defeat Salvok, and once that is done, bring the character from Baldur's Gate 1 and directly into Baldur's Gate 2. And I think actually with a pure fighter, we should be able to pull it off with maybe with a fight in Baldur's Gate, but it's going to be extremely difficult in Baldur's Gate 2 because in Baldur's Gate 2 there is so much more magic, and we are not going to be able to access any of that, and we're going to need to protect ourselves against most of it. But it's going to be a challenge, right? The level of difficulty is also going to be at the core rulebook, so we're not going to be at Insane or, Legacy of Baal, but we're not going to be having half damage or anything. You're going to be playing with the core rules in that Let's Play. Now, what do I mean by last save? So, whenever I gonna save the game, the last save is the one that I have to use. I don't have the right to use another save than the last save. So what does it mean? It means that if, for example, for whatever reason, my character found itself in a situation where is locked, meaning that he is stuck in a situation and I need to go back further in the save to unlock it, then the Let's Play will fail. So there is no guarantee that I'm going to be able to do this Let's Play all the way to the end. So that's the that's a little bit the idea. So it's gonna put a little bit more challenge in the Let's Play, and I'm gonna need to be careful of where I'm saving. But at the same time, is also gonna I think bring a new light a little bit in the way when I play Baldur's Gate. And as I said, like I love fighters. I think that they offer a lot of depth. Because they can use any weapons, any armor, any shields, in the game, and there is a lot of magical weapons and a lot of magical ammunitions that you can use with longbows and bows and slings and things like that, that can add a little bit some different kind of damage and a little bit of magical magical aspect to our kit, but it's all gonna be through items. A good thing as well with fighters is like if you go 100% fighter, you are gonna have the possibility to go level 5 specialization in weapons, which is not something that you're gonna be able to do if you do fighter in something else. Generally, you can use all weapons when you go fighter with in dual class with something else, but you cannot specialize it to level 5. And what we can do is like we can take an actual longbow and specialize it all the way to level 5. Now you're gonna say to me, well, Sean, what's the point of playing a fighter if you're gonna play it with a longbow? Well, I'm not only gonna play it in longbow, I still gonna be able to have a melee option, and I think the melee option that I'm gonna go it's one hand weapon and shield because let's be honest, if you are the only character that you're gonna be playing the game, if you only have one character, it's gonna be surrounded, it's gonna be attacked by multiple parts. So I need to make sure is like my fighter can defend himself pretty well, and if he gets surrounded himself and there's other people that is shooting at him, having the possibility to reduce the amount of damage or the chance to being hit by melee by ranged weapon is going to be extremely important. So that's the idea. So I'm gonna start the character at level 1. I'm gonna go at Candlekeep, and I'm gonna go all the way through, finish Baldur's Gate, all the extensions, go to Baldur's Gate 2 and try to finish all the extension with one character, and it's only gonna be a fighter. So we're gonna see if it's possible, but I may not succeed. As I say, it's last save. If I have for whatever reason need to go multiple saves back because I found myself in a situation when I'm stuck, then the let's play is gonna be a failure. In terms of, it's not a failure, like in terms that I would not have had the possibility to go to the end or to the objective. And I just like it because I think it's just gonna add an extra layer to the let's play, an extra challenge, and say like, oh yeah, you're not guaranteed to go through it just because you're gonna always be able to catch from the last save or use glitches or things like that. We're gonna try to beat the game legitimately with a single character fighter. So without further ado, let's create the character. So we're gonna start a new game. Also, just for information, I'm gonna try to create a fighter right here just in front of you, but I already created a fighter before the recording, just in case if we don't have good skills, right? So if we don't have good skills, because I'm not gonna I'm not gonna ask you to stay with me and watching, me passing through the rules 100 times until I have a good skill set, then I would just load the fighter that I already constructed, but it's going to be exactly what I'm going to try to build here, but with proper skills, with the skills that I need. Okay, so let's get started. So it's going to be a male, and for this let's play, I want to have a half-orc fighter because they are the strongest. So we're gonna take the portraits with the half-orc, and I love Dawn's portrait, and we're gonna use it in this let's play. The race is gonna be half-orc. So there was multiple options, right? I could have went human, but they don't have any bonuses per se, but after you can dual class with something else. But since this let's play is only gonna be about fighter, I'm not interested to be in a human. Half-elf, they are pretty good as well, but they have a lot of bonuses that we're not gonna need in fighter, and they also have a penalty in constitution, which is a big no-no if you want to go fighter, because in second edition, the higher constitution you have, the more bonus HP you're gonna have as you level up. So the idea is to have a fighter with 19 constitution because, hey, you're gonna be on your own, so nobody's gonna stack the damage for you, so the character needs to be able to have the most HP that he can have. So this is a big no-no. Half-elf, again, you have some bonuses for, fifth stuff. You have infravision and a little bit of magic resistance, which is pretty cool. But as I said, we're not going to use the fifth aspect. We're going to use infravision, and we can use the resistances, but we don't have any bonuses in strength or constitution, so no. Dwarf, well, they have a bonus in constitution, but they have a penalty in dexterity. So since we're gonna go with a bow build as well, to some extent, that's not good. And also there's a fair amount of thief stuff that we don't need, but there is also a pretty good amount of survival against magic and saving throws, which is pretty cool. But the -2 charisma, I don't like it, and I will explain why after. The half-elves, yeah, well, the halfling, sorry, they're pretty interesting, but the -1 in strength, no. No. Gnomes could be cool, but once again, a lot of things about traps. Saving throw against magic is pretty cool. Bonus in intelligence, we don't really care about. Minus in wisdom, so meh. But half-orcs, yeah, I mean, you don't have a lot of bonuses, but you have infravision, which is going to be pretty cool when we're going to be in caves and stuff like that. But more importantly, we're going to have +1 strength and +1 constitution. So if we have pretty good skills that we roll, then we can have a 19 strength and a 19 constitution, which is key for this playthrough. And that's going to help us to do major damage in melee and have a lot of hit points. And intelligence, well, you know, if it's true, like, you're a fighter, it's not your prime stat, right? So who cares? Okay, so class 100% fighter, and so I thought a fair amount of time for this let's play. Would I want to have a special kind of fighter, like you know, maybe a wizard slayer or a kensai or a berserk, you know? And I just think it's just better to go fighter, because a fighter, you know, you can wear any armor, any helmet, you can go grand mastery with any weapons, you can specialize with two slots in weapon fighting and allocate 3 slots in 2 weapon fighting, which is not too bad. But if you look, for example, in Berserks, yeah, you have some cool abilities, but at the same time, you have pretty big disadvantages. Like, you know, when you get out of the rage, you have penalties in your armor, so it's pretty, you know, limited in time. But also, you cannot use ranged weapon, which is, in my opinion, very detrimental if you are the only character in the party. You need to have range options, because in certain instances, you cannot reach the character very easily in melee, so you need to be able to have a good reach weapon or range weapon. So that's a big no-no. Wizard Slayer, honestly, I was thinking about it for a very fair amount of time, but this is a big no-no. Because here's the thing, yes, okay, so if you go in melee with a wizard and you manage to hit it, it's gonna have a penalty of 25% cumulative chance to cast a spell, and you're gonna have also magic resistance. So that definitively is gonna be very handy in Baldur's Gate 2, okay? No doubt. But this is a big no-no, because you can only use magic items. You cannot use magic items apart from weapons and armor. So I think you still can use potions. Don't quote me on that. I haven't tried. I need to check. But you cannot use rings. You cannot use boots. You cannot use belts. You cannot use caps. You know, like any kind of items that is not armor or weapons, you can't use it. And this is can be a big problem, because a big part of the fighter's strength is his items, his equipment. And saying that you cannot use anything else from weapon and armor in terms of magic, it like, because in the future we're gonna find some very good magical items that can really help us out. And if I'm a wizard slayer, I may not use them because they are not weapons or armor. Right, so that's why I say no, but definitively maybe it could be a good future let's play to see if we can pull it off. But in this instance, I say no. Kensai, well, Kensai is super cool. I love the concept, but honestly, and I saw some builds like Kensai Mage that could be cool, you know, because you don't have the possibility to wear any armor. Or any gauntlet and bracelet, which doesn't matter if you go Kensai Mage. because in that instance, if you go Kensai Mage, you can potentially use spells to protect yourself. Now I need, when I say mage, maybe it's the gnome. I don't know if you can necessarily multi-class a fighter with a specialization unless you are a gnome, because I think gnomes, they can have well, I'll have to check. I saw that video pretty quickly, but I didn't see necessarily the intricacies. But I think the idea is pretty cool. But in this instance, for what we gonna try to do with just fighter, it's a big no because we cannot wear any armor, we cannot use any missiles weapons, so no bows, no slings, nothing range. No bracelets and gauntlets. Yeah, it's a big no. So we're gonna be naked in the wind, and if we are the only guy, it's not gonna be good. Plus, we have no range options, or very limited range options. Barbarian. So barbarian are pretty cool, but once again, they are limited in the amount of specialization that they can go through. Specializations like 2 slots for any weapon. Same thing with the fighter here. So yeah, you have an extra 2 movement, which can be cool. You're immune to backstab. Okay, that's cool. You have the ability to rage. Okay, that's cool. You gain some resistances against certain type of damage. But big no here, because you may not wear armor heavier than speed mail. So yeah, okay, you're gonna have rage, you're gonna be able to negate some of the damage, but rage is only lasting a fair amount of time. Like, it seems like it's only once per day, and after you gain extra usage, and it's only for 5 rounds, right? So for 5 rounds, you can kind of be a little bit more tanky and things like that. But after 5 rounds, you are, you fall behind a normal warrior that who have, like full plate armor, and you can even have full magical plate armor and things like that. So yeah, I mean, it's again, that can be good in a group, but as a solo, I don't know. I just prefer going with the normal fighter. It gives more options, in my opinion, in the game. Alignment, I gotta go neutral good, nothing fancy. Abilities, okay, so this is the big part. So as I say, I already constructed the fighter previously, exactly as we are doing right here. But in the score there, if I'm not mistaken, I managed to get a 89. Which is pretty good, like, you can get better, but having an 89, it's pretty decent. So if I remember, here I had 19 strength, because I was able to max that out, and because I'm an orc, I have a bonus +1, so 19 strength, 18 dex, 19 con, because I have the bonus with the half orc, 10 intelligence, 10 wisdom, and 13 or 14 charisma. I will show you the character. Now, the reason why I want charisma and not wisdom, because people are saying like, wisdom can be good, because at one point at Baldur's Gate 2, you have the possibility to have access to wish spell, and you need to have a minimum of wisdom. And okay, I get it, and it's a fair argument, but we are playing a fighter. So what does it mean? So you gotta say, like, why do you need charisma instead of wisdom? Well, you don't want to. So as a fighter, you're gonna need to rely a lot on buying items, right? And selling a lot of items, and you don't want to be screwed over by the merchant all the time. The merchants are your friend as a fighter. You need them because you need to acquire potions, you need to acquire ammunition, you need to repair, your weapons at some point. But also you need to buy always good stuff, and you cannot do it if you have, a 5 in charisma, right? So you need to have a decent amount of charisma, and that's why I want to have 13. Now, it's maybe a mistake, but I personally think that as a fighter, having the possibility to have good relationship with NPCs and personally merchant is important, because you need to have access to good equipment. That's what, in my opinion, makes or break a good fighter, the equipment. So let's give it a try. I'm gonna try to see if I can have better than an 89, but no guarantee, right? Holy crap, guys! I have a 91. I have a 91. Okay, so this is the thing what I said to myself. Like I said, like, well, I already have a character prepared. But if when I record I get better than an 89, then I will go with this character. This is super freaking awesome, guys. Like I think the only character that I managed to create in Baldur's Gate with more than 91 was a 94. Right? So 91 is pretty good. You know, let's give it a try with, like, unless we are super freaking lucky to get a 94 or something like that, which I would be super surprised. I don't think that that's gonna happen. But hey, you know, we just got a 91, so let's see if we can test our luck a little bit. 86. Yeah, no, doesn't look like it. And you don't want to speed rush this. You don't want to you know, like click that super fast, because how many times did I click that super fast and I had a good value, and by the time that I realized it, I already pressed and I lost the value, you know, like, so there's no point doing it fast. Okay, 85. Yeah, I think we're gonna roll with the 91. Honestly, it's better than the guy that I created previously. Yeah, that's fantastic, guys. Like 91, like, yeah, let's roll with the 91. That's fine. I'm honestly, I'm happy with that. I'm not gonna, so I'm gonna go with 10 intelligence. So I'm just gonna do that for now, okay? Because I really want those stats maxed out. So we're gonna have 19 strength, we're gonna have 18 dex, and we're gonna have 19 charisma. Now we have 5 points. So I think I want, I'm gonna do this, okay? So you and I know what you guys gonna say. You said like, oh, Sean, you were saying like charisma more important than wisdom, and now you're putting more points in wisdom than charisma. Well, true, but at the same time, I had more points to allocate. So in this instance, if I have the possibility to have a decent charisma, you know, 12 is not wonderful, but it's good enough. You know, it's good enough to be able to buy and sell stuff to the merchant and still be okay. And we have 13 in wisdom, which means that we will, if I'm not mistaken, have access to the wish spell. If we find, at one point, if we find it in Baldur's Gate 2, we'll be able to have access to it. And that's very important, right? It can help us a lot. So I personally think it's a good deal, right? Now, I could potentially put those 5 points straight in charisma, but, you know, why not balancing out, you know? It can help us in other, in saves, against spells and things like that. So I think that's pretty good. So that's super good, guys. I'm super, super happy of that, actually. So let's continue. Okay, so this is a very important part, because this is gonna make or break the character, especially in the early levels. Now, since we're gonna be with no party, what's gonna happen is, how can I say that? Well, we're gonna have all the experience, of course, for one single character, and most importantly, the way that it works in Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition, if you multi-class, then the experience gets spread through the different classes, right? Unless you are human, but yeah, let's not digress. So generally, if you dual class, the experience gets spread to the different classes. So even if you go, for example, fighter mage, for example, and you just have one character, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna have a fighter level 12 at the end of Baldur's Gate, right? Because you're gonna have the experience split between the fighter and the wizard, or the mage, right? So you may be a fighter level 6, you know, and a wizard level 5 or 6, right? Like, just inventing, right? Instead of being able to be a fighter level 12, right? So since we are going 100% fighter, we're going to be able to max out the specialize in fighter, all right? Now, I personally think it's very important for what we want to do to be able to have longbows, because longbows are the weapons that have the most range and do one of the weapons that do the most damage at range, And you gotta say, well, you're a fighter, right? You're supposed to go in melee. Well, this is the thing. This is the reason why I'm doing this playthrough. It's not because you're a fighter that you absolutely have to be in melee. Like, having a very good range option when you are a solo character is very good. And on top of that, we're gonna be able to wear pretty heavy armor, helmets, and all that stuff. So we're gonna have a very good armor that's going to protect us in most of the time. And so that's why I want to go no, that's not long sword, sorry, it's long bow. Here you go, long bow, right? So if I put 2 points on this, so if I put 1 point, the character will have no penalty losing the weapon. Okay, great. But if I put 2 points, then the character will receive +1 bonus to hit, +2 damage, and as a fighter, you will have an extra half attack per round with the selected weapon. This is very huge for kiting. Okay, so that makes the entire difference. And you can go all the way to Grandmaster, where you can have +3 to hit, +5 damage, -3 and speed factor, so you are faster, and you have an extra attack per round. And that's something that fighters can have with, any Grandmaster weapon. So I definitely want to have longbow as a Grandmaster weapon. And what I want, so I'm going to put 2 points in there. I cannot put more at level 1, unfortunately. And what I want is sword and shield. Because when you have that, so you can only put 2 points in it anyway. So if you put 2 points now, then you're maxed out on this. And that gives you a -4 to your AC against missile, meaning if you wear shield, you're gonna have better armor against melee anyway, and better resistances against range weapon. And it's pretty important because as a fighter, you're gonna need to have time to reach the guy if you want to be in melee. So now, if you have a longbow, you can shoot them from afar, but if you cannot reach them, or if you're being attacked swarmed by multiple enemies and you're surrounded and people are shooting at you, then you can go shield and one-hand weapon, and then you're protected for a fair amount of time against the melee, against the ranged weapons, right? Well, until you can deal with the melee combatants. Now, there's something that I wanted to check here. They say this fighting style allows the character to use two-handed melee weapons. Okay, so that's what I wanted to see. I just wanted to confirm if the two-handed weapon style is only for melee weapon, and it is the case. So we're not gonna go with that. We're gonna go with this. Okay, and moving forward, I may specialize in one type of weapon in here, like potentially either the katana or maybe the long sword, because there's a lot of very good weapons, magical weapons in Baldur's Gate, like longsword and things like that. It's a very common weapon. But I also want to be pretty decent with most of the weapons, because as a fighter, and if you're on your own, those different weapons do different kinds of damage, right? So Warhammer is going to do bludgeoning damage. Katana is going to do slashing damage, just like the longsword, right? I think, and I need to double check, but the longsword do slashing damage. And for example, I think it was the scimitar. I think I will need to double check, but there is also other melee weapon that do piercing, of course. So you want to have a pretty good mix of weapons and being pretty decent at it, right? Maybe having 1 point on them, but it's very good to be specialized with one weapon, because as I say, if you are Grandmaster, on a weapon, I mean, you have +3 to hit, +5 damage, -3 in speed factor, And I know that there are certain people that are doing two-handed sword, Grandmaster, and two-handed weapon style. This is insane. The critical range is increased. You hit even farther. So that's if you go DPS build. But in this playthrough, we're not going DPS build. We are going more survival build, because, as I say, we're gonna have to play all the way from Baldur's Gate 1 to Baldur's Gate 2 and beyond with the extensions and all that stuff. And since we are gonna be the only character, we're gonna have a lot of experience. So we're gonna be able to put a lot of points in there. So this is how we're gonna do our character for now, and it may change in the future. Okay, at least we can put more points in the future. All right, appearance. So I don't necessarily want to be looking like that necessarily. So let's put black hairs and look a little bit more human. And the tunic is gonna be blue. That's gonna be red because I like it. We're gonna take this one.
Get over here. Right
Yeah.
then, I'm in charge.
Yeah.
That's about enough. For what? You don't want my hands getting idle.
No, you see, like this is the half-orc guy, man. Like this is gonna be the Solaris Ray fighter that's gonna go all the way on his own. You know, defeating Sarvok and defeating Irenicus and all that jazz all by himself because that's what he does. All right. So here you go. Let's go. Accept. All right, so we are not gonna play in normal. Okay, so this is the thing. So we're gonna play in the core rules. All right. So even if we're gonna be a single player or a single character in the party, we are gonna play with the core rules. So we're gonna take 100% of the damage. Right. We're gonna be subject to 100% of the effects. All right, we may die, you know, well, we may die permanently, but if we die in Baldur's Gate as, you know, a Children of Baal, we die permanently anyway, and we don't care about spell books because we are fighter, right? So that's how we're gonna play, and let's get started.
Nestled atop the cliffs that rise from the Sword Coast, the citadel of Candlekeep houses the finest and most comprehensive collection of writings on the face of Farron. It is an imposing fortress, kept in strict isolation from the intrigues that occasionally plague the rest of the Forgotten Realms. It is secluded, highly regimented, and it is home. Within these hallowed halls of knowledge, your story begins. You have spent most of your 20 years of life within this keep's austere walls, under the tutelage of the sage Gorion. Acting as your father, he has raised you on 1,000 tales of heroes and monsters, lovers and infidels, battles and tragedies. However, one story was always left untold, that of your true heritage. You have been told that you are an orphan, but your past is largely unknown. Lately, Gorion has been growing distant from you, as if some grave matter weighs heavily on his heart. You have asked about his concerns as gently as possible, but your queries have been in vain. Your sole comfort is the knowledge that he is a wise man, and you know he will tell you when the time is right. Nonetheless, his silence is troubling, and you cannot help but feel that something is terribly wrong. Today, Gorion has appeared more agitated than ever, and now he has uncharacteristically interrupted your chores in the middle of the day, imparting hurried instructions for you to equip yourself for travel. He has handed you what gold he can spare, but given no clue as to why. Nevertheless, you now stand before the Candlekeep Inn, ready to purchase what you need for an unplanned and unexpected journey.
Okay. Boom. Okay, so the first thing what we gotta do in this instance, right, we're gonna...
I'm on it.
We're gonna save. Right, so... Up, save. So as you can see, I've made some testings, right? So I'm gonna say... What is my save? Yeah, Solo Fighter. Playthrough. So that's the one that I've done previously. So I gotta save over it, overwrite. There you go. Perfect. So here's my dude, alright, Solaris Ray, he is there, right? And this is gonna be a stat, which is pretty good for a single character. 19 strength, 19 con, you know, dexterity, yeah, 15 HP. And you see, as a fighter, is gonna need 2000 XP to level up, right? Which is more than a thief. A thief needs only 1250, but a fighter needs 2000 for just the level 1, okay? And here is the stats what we're gonna have. So I'm not gonna begin necessarily the playthrough right now. This is the setup episode. And I think what we're gonna do is like on the next episode, we are going to begin the actual playthrough, Candle Keep, and start our journey in the world of Baldur's Gate. So thank you very much, people, for watching. And if you like the content, please leave a like and subscribe. It will really help the channel, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.